to the Movie Club Emporium. And first and foremost, for this particular video, I want to say if you haven't already, click that like and subscribe button. We are at a mere 28 uh, new subscribers away from hitting our triple digits, which is our goal for this year. And when we hit that number, we're going to do a special live stream with you guys. So make sure you help us get to that. The sooner the better. We'll have some fun. Also, if you didn't join us last night for our June live hangout, make sure you watch that replay. Last time we talked about the films of Walter Hill, including some really awesome talk about things like The Warriors and Streets of Fire, and some other great films. So we do that every single month, with and without the cat. But I wanted to do all that at the very beginning of the video because this video might be my undoing. Because I gotta tell you, there are a lot of 40-something-year-old dudes uh, wanting to talk about Supergirl. And I'm one of them, but for not the same. We're definitely not on the same. He's making sure I don't get myself in trouble. The same wavelength, because unlike most of those particular channels, um, I don't. We don't do this as a job. We don't make money off of this. This is purely because we love talking about movies. And with that being said, Supergirl is a superhero film that has come out this year. I know, it's not the best movie in the world or in the superhero genre, but it's also not the worst. I perfectly had fun with Supergirl, and that apparently puts me in the minority for my demographic. Um, And so I'm gonna try not to get too heated because I gotta tell you, I watched the movie, I wrote down my thoughts, and then I was like, I've been hearing and seeing on like every thumbnail is discourse, with a lot of men, adult men, who really did not like Supergirl. And after seeing the movie, I couldn't imagine why. And so I watched some quick snippets of videos, and I can tell you why, but why tell you why? What do you want? Why ask questions you don't want the answers to? Look, let's get into the actual review. Enough prodding the bear aside. Supergirl. This is the second film in James Gunn's DCU, and despite the number of times James Gunn, uh, his name has been attached to this film, it's directed by Craig Gillespie, who did the very underrated and overlooked Fright Night remake. Sadly, it was overlooked because they made him shoot it for 3D, and so it's so dark you can't see a lot of things in that movie. But it's a darn good remake of one of my favorite vampire movies, and it's a decent enough remake. And this is adapting Tom King's Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, I think was the graphic novel. And I'm gonna tell you something here that not a lot of people have talked about because they're too busy complaining about so many things. Uh, I really like this movie. And I'm gonna tell you why. Number one, we get our first glimpse of Supergirl at the end of Gunn's Superman. Supergirl, for me, I didn't grow up with the '80s movie. I don't know that I've ever seen it in its entirety. I remember it being on TV sometimes growing up when they would be playing the Superman movies. I know it's roughly considered, or widely considered, not to be great. outside of maybe like Faye Dunaway's over the top performance. And then the cartoon of Supergirl from like Adventures of Superman and things like that. And she was fun enough. She was kind of written to just kind of be like Batgirl with superpowers, I always felt like. Uh Also didn't help hurt that like she was basically drawn like Batgirl with blonde hair. And then of course we had Supergirl in the Flash movie, the Man of Steel Supergirl, which in all honesty is kind of the best part of that movie, and really, aside from the nostalgia bug of Michael Keaton and a bat cowl, kind of the best part of that movie. Uh, but we're with our new version of Supergirl of Kara Jor-El. This time played by Millie Alcock, who right now I will tell you I really really enjoyed this version of Supergirl, because going back to all those different super ladies, um, Supergirl has always been kind of written as she's just like she's Lady Superman. She's just Superman in a skirt, my dog, and like I don't. This very clearly sets her up as a very different character than David Cornsweet's uh Kal-El. For the better. And I love the moment in this story where we actually, because seeing Krypton explode for me is like watching pearls fall in an alley. It's like seeing Uncle Ben laying on a sidewalk. Like I don't need it. You know, Bruce Banner in that lab. I don't need it. So I was very happy that Superman kind of bypassed that part of the movie. However, you are given a look at the destruction of Krypton through eyes we haven't seen before. Because everything we know about Krypton from Superman is stuff he learned via like family reels. We get to see a new take on the bottle city of Kandor, um, and how devastating that is as this kind of change in the backstory. It's heartbreaking, and it really shows you why this particular version of Supergirl may be a little different, maybe a little more jaded, a little bit more of a darker hue than this new interpretation of Superman that we're building with this new DCU. And it's also funny that it's widely disliked by the same dudes who love Snyder's dark and gritty take. But again, I'm sorry. It just bugged me so much. Um, that she is the best part of this movie. I think she's fantastic. I haven't really gotten into House of the Dragon. I just never really, we just never had really sat down and watch it. You know, Game of Thrones took up so much of our lives. I've never sat down and watch it. I love her in this world, and I think that a lot of people might see her as like, oh, it's Lady Star Lord, and I don't see it at all. They give her a fully fleshed out character. It's just this movie that she discovers uh, to be a hero, and to care for others, and because she's very jaded at the very beginning of this movie, and I think she pulls that off. Uh, there are some things in this movie. Another great thing about this movie is I'm sitting here and I'm watching it, and if you're kind of a movie nerd, you'll pick up on some things. Because again, I've never read this particular graphic novel, but apparently it it adapts it while also changing a lot of things. But one of the main theories is she's with this young girl named Ruby, who she's kind of begrudgingly helping at first. And of course we see Supergirl just like out, living life in the bottom of a bottle on a red sun planet, but so that she can get sloshed, and it's just her and Crypto, kind of like van life in the spaceship. Um, and as this girl, she wants to seek revenge against this character, our character Kryn. Krim, who I'll get to. And so this young girl employs the help of this kind of like jaded drunkard to help her hunt down this criminal. And if you're a movie nerd, you're saying, wait a minute, Jason, are you not describing the plot of one True Grit? And it is. It's True Grit as a comic movie, and that's very interesting. Um, I was just sitting here like, it's okay. Well, it's True Grit. All right. That's fun. Um, and that part of it I like. The character of Ruby is a character that I will say, and some mild spoilers, is a character that her story is wrapped up, and we say kind of goodbye to that character. Uh, and that's for the best. This isn't a character that needed to be outside of this movie. Um, they do add in a little bit of the ticking clock for this movie, and also like a way to kind of like we got a lot of crypto and Superman. They kind of give you crypto without. They kind of make crypto a little bit of the MacGuffin, because he is poisoned and she only has 3 days to get the antidote from this guy, which is why she decides to help Ruby on her quest. And there's some great things. There's some amazing practical effects, some great creature effects. There is some really good CGI in the movie. There are some interesting needle drops. I some of them don't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. I feel like a lot of movies feel like they need to have that. This is all um, post Guardians, but there's some needle drops that work for me. There's a scene where they're taking like the galactic school bus or city bus to head toward another planet, and you just a modest mouse needle drop that gets me, and that's one of my favorite songs off that particular album. So that was interesting. That didn't make a whole lot of sense for that part of the movie, but I'm like, hey, all right, I see you. Somebody's got a pretty good Spotify. There is one needle drop in the end that is a cover that just totally poops the bed. Like honestly, you should have used the original. Just because the cover, it's one of those slow, breathy covers that you would see in like a trailer for like a Nicholas Sparks movie in like the late 20 teens, early 2010s. Um, and it just does not fit with the scene that comes before or that it leads into. If you want to go with the original song, then do the original song. That would make more sense. It'd have a little more pep in its step. Um, let's get to the other characters. I will say this: Lobo is used for me perfectly because I love Jason Momoa. I thought he was a great choice for Ant Man, Aquaman. I know this is a character that he's wanted to bring to life for years. Um, and truth be told, I've never been a huge like Lobo guy. I'm just like he's a space biker. Um, like I feel like this has been made in the 90s. Like it, even before Sons of Anarchy, you could have had like Ron Perlman play this character. He's fine in it, and I think that Lobo's a character that they can use if they use him right, use him sparingly. He can work. There are a couple of lines that he delivers in this movie though, where his performance gets real close to Beetlejuice. Uh, Also his look does not help with that Beetlejuice comparison. I mean, with the skin makeup and the eye makeup, to where I was like, whoa. I expected him to be like, nice fucking model, honk honk. But I think he's used the perfect amount in this movie. I also feel like our villain. This is a movie that doesn't need a big, oh my goodness, villain in it. Uh, some of the people are saying that this teased Brainiac. sure. Uh, but this movie does the Brainiac does not need to be the villain in this movie. You know, you don't need a big, well-known villain uh, in this movie. However, this Krim character, who I don't know from the comic, and the actor does a fine enough job. I don't know if it's just maybe it's a mixture of kind of what they have him saying mixed with the way he looks. Like the first scene he's in is almost as kind of menacing, and then he just becomes very generic. He looks like a mix between D. Snyder's Strangeland character Captain Howdy and like one of the random. He would have been like a random villain that uh, Riddick would have murdered in one of those Riddick movies. Very very generic. And the bring it down to like, oh yeah, they're basically a group of they look like knockoff Klingon uh women traffickers. That's weird. Uh, but again, you aren't necessarily following them to stop them. It's a revenge tale. This girl wants revenge, and Supergirl is going to get the antidote for crypto while also trying to help the girl understand that you know revenge isn't necessarily doesn't end things. It's Batman Forever, man. Just because you kill him doesn't mean it's over. You have to live with that stuff, man. Um, I will now. So, like I said, the villain is kind of boring. Uh, the first hour, like all the creature effects are really cool. We get to the last couple of planets, and every planet is just a gross brown uh dirt location. Um, just there's some mountains, and then we're in the. It's almost like a Star Trek episode. It's like, oh, we're in the same desert. There's just different rocks around. Um, but I like the way they do the fight. I love the way they do her fighting. I do love that they do have the way they kind of explain how kryptonite weakens them is done pretty effectively in this. The fact that they bring in the different colors of suns, the green sun, the red sun, the yellow sun. They didn't bring in the sun that made Superman gay in that one comic book, though, which, kind of would have been interesting. Give these dudes something else to bitch about. Uh, again, I found this movie totally serviceable. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm not somebody who's like, "Yay, Supergirl." I think, honestly, I think the biggest mistake of this particular outing for this DC universe is that you made this your second movie. Um, which is funny because a lot of people who compare this movie to something like because they hated Captain Marvel. To me, the problem with Captain Marvel in that original DC or original Marvel universe is that they introduced her too late. Her movie comes too late in the overarching story. I feel like this comes too soon. Maybe have something else come between the two soup movies. Uh, because I know they're already doing Superman 2. And so we're just looking at, the Green Lantern show still hasn't come out. We still haven't heard much about this Batman Robin movie. Um, so it feels very Superman forward. And look, I'm fine with Superman in certain aspects. Um, as a young teenager reading The Dark Knight Returns and Frank Miller stuff, for better or worse, was like Superman sucks. But I feel like we're really like leaning heavy into the old Boy Scout area. Let's give the blue soups a break. Let's get this other stuff off the ground. So I think maybe if this would have been like third or fourth movie instead of immediately after Superman. I see why they did it. Um, and so I really think it just kind of has bad timing. Also, honestly, I don't think they marketed it well. Um, because this is a much darker toned movie than what a lot of people uh think it's going to be. You know, if you see a lot of this is supposed to be some mm, girl boss, yeah, type of movie, and really it's not. It's about a lot of our our two main characters are very broken people, um, having to kind of find their true selves in this journey, and it's not that type of movie. Even though I hate the idea of people being like, oh, because it's like, yay, girls, that makes it bad somehow. Give me a break. But again, I was just like angrily scrolling YouTube, just be like, shut the fuck up. In my own home. It's like getting angry. And not because I'm so big, huge, you know, whatever. It's just like, man, this is a superhero movie about a character. It's a movie that's about a superhero that happens to be female. It is not a movie that is like some secret evil left agenda movie. It was a perfectly fine movie, and for so many adult, like even dudes old, I'm 40. All right, full disclosure, I'm 40. I may have dashingly young baby like features, but I'm 40. And when I'm like sitting in my own home, getting like icked and cringed out by people older than me, like losing their minds over Supergirl. It's wild to me. And trust me, I get it. I get like the passion for the superhero movies. And for movies that maybe don't that take something I love and don't adapt it well. You're talking to the guy who still hasn't seen a goddamn Dark Tower adaptation he likes. Let's get that going, please. But you don't see me burning everything in my whole fandom to the ground because every Stephen King property to the ground because it's not the Dark Tower. It's just ridiculous. And movie is, I'm gonna tell you right now, my wife will love this movie. Why? Because it's a fun superhero movie. And I'm sure at some point in her life, she liked Supergirl. Wonder Woman, which was considered to be this huge, great movement of a film. I remember I took my mother to see. My mother could not give less of shit about superhero movies. But I knew that my mother knew who Wonder Woman was and would love to see somebody do a live action version of a character she grew up knowing for the first time ever. That wasn't like the TV show from the 70s. Uh Also, pop quiz, how awesome was the villain in Wonder Woman? I'll wait. Who was it? Exactly. So, do I think Supergirl is the best superhero movie in the history of superhero films? Absolutely not. But is it the worst movie of all time and deserves to be forgotten in the dumpsters of like the lowest tier of these of these superhero movies? No. No, it's an hour and 47 minutes of a fun new take on a character. It's a fun kind of superhero take on a classic Western story that, again, I was really enjoying because just it was truly just true grit with a super dog in it and Jason Momoa. you know, running around looking like Buff Crow for a little while. It's fun. Is it gonna destroy the DC universe? Get out of here. It was an absolutely fun film, and I think that if you are into just kind of having a fun superhero movie, the you know somebody in your life who would like it, then take them, please. Now, I'm the weird one because I'd rather watch this than Toy Story 5. Toy Story 4, Toy Story ended at 3 perfectly. Quit doing that. But I'm also not going to tell you that Toy Story 5 is the worst Pixar movie in the history of Pixar movies just because I'm mad about it. Um, Again, that's my ranting and raving over this perfectly fun and serviceable superhero comic book movie that I think a lot more people would who given a chance to just shut up about certain things and just take the movie as that. That's what it is, man. And at the end of the day, if you hate it so much, why watch it? Again, I don't get paid to do these. So if a movie comes out and looks utterly terrible, for the most, I'm not gonna pay to watch it. I'll wait and watch it for free, and then I can bash it in February when we do our best and worst of list. Don't watch it. But I think this is a perfectly fun movie. I had a lot of fun with it. Uh, Even with its many flaws, but still at the end of the day, I think Millie Alcott is the best version of Supergirl we're going to get, and I think she does a fantastic job. And I cannot wait to see her bring this character and grow this character in the future of the DCU. So, that being said, that'll wrap up my review slash rant of Supergirl. And if you're still here, thank you. Again, please subscribe. Because we're trying to get to 100, and I don't know, maybe the number's going to go down a little bit. We'll find out. But more importantly, next week, we are uh, talking about a movie that came out of nowhere and that I'm super excited to see. It's from the director of Pig, his new film, The Death of Robin Hood. Um, yeah, man, give me something. I'm excited for this. So next week we'll be talking about The Death of Robin Hood. And then I'll just go ahead and tell you right now, you're gonna want to be here because Evil Dead Burn. Of course, we're gonna talk about Evil Dead Burn, but we're not gonna be talking about it on the 10th when it comes out. No, because I have to change the lineup behind me. For the month of July, Nick and I are covering the Evil Dead franchise for our live hangout. So you're gonna want to be subscribed because we're talking all now six. Wow, 6 Evil Dead movies. Plus, I'm sure the TV show, the video games, and all that will come up. You don't want to miss it, so make sure you are subscribed to Movie-Club Emporium. And until next week, when we're discussing uh, Hugh Jackman as Old Man Logan Hood, I'll see you guys next time.